What is falsely seen as a sign of maturity? Greater than, when I became a man I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. C.S. Lewis. When I was 10, I read fairy tales in secret and would have been ashamed if I had been found doing so. Now that I am 50, I read them openly. When I became a man I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. C.S. Lewis. True adults are secure in their love for whatever they love, be it action figures, fairy tales, video games. Those who ridicule these people for their interests are actually the childish ones. Giving up things you enjoy because they're childish. Emo. Giving up or belittling adults for enjoying what they like is childish. I always think of Simon Pegg's quote on geekdom in this kind of discussion. Being a geek is all about being honest about what you enjoy and not being afraid to demonstrate that affection. It means never having to play it cool about how much you like something. It's basically a license to proudly emote on a somewhat childish level rather than behave like a supposed adult. Being a geek is extremely liberating. Now obviously his quote is more a defense of being a geek, but that last bit is something I always think about. I'm an adult, and as an adult I make the choice and I give myself license to have an almost childlike excitement about the things I like, and it doesn't diminish my adulthood in my opinion. Not sure who originally coined this phrase, but there's a quote from the movie Tag that has always stuck with me. You don't stop playing because you get old because you stop playing. Being above humor and putting others down for joking around. When you are a true adult, you can also know how to be a child. The other day, a cousin of mine, 20Y, made fun of my sibling, 25Y, for wanting to go to an amusement park ride, one of the fastest roller coasters in the country, saying, "Rides are for kids, grow up." Excuse me, but that is a sad view of life right there. I think an even bigger sign of maturity is not giving a fuck about what other people think. Having children. You can have children when you're 13. Doesn't make you an adult. Youngest person to have a child was 5. Age. That's an interesting one. I'm a career chef, so I've always worked with teenagers. Even as a teenager, the most intelligent and driven guy I've first worked with was 18 2 years ago. I kinda hoped my son would be like him. He's not, but my son's been at the job for a year since 14 and he does a great job. Proud of him. I have seen many examples of people mistaking arrogance with confidence. Confidence, of course, being a sign of maturity. I have been there myself when I was younger. Incredibly arrogant, and I thought I was being confident. But confidence is someone who is secure in themselves and who don't feel the need to prove themselves to others all the time. Arrogance is the opposite of that. As someone, male 33, who's never been more confident about themselves, work and life in general, I fully agree. I have 2 coworkers, male 18 and male 21, and they constantly try to outdo each other, and the youngest tried that with me, too. I was probably like that when I was their age, too. Hell, I've noticed my confidence level rising since I became a dad 17 months ago. I don't feel the need to go head to head over something irrelevant anymore. Very happy about that. Not apologizing to younger people. Also treating everyone younger as you like they are a kid, even if they are an adult. Why is it only condescending to treat adults like kids? Why not treat kids like inexperienced adults instead? Too often people treat kids badly because they are kids. I mean, children should be treated as children, but some people miss that this doesn't equals being disrespectful to them. Children and young teens deserve respect, but also they should enjoy their childhood. Stop enjoying. My dad in a nutshell. Stop being happy with your steady job that pays enough so you can afford whatever you want and leaves you with tons of free time. Life and work need to be a grind and a fight, or you're not doing it right. I guess that's my gift to him, so he can have something to be angry about, the only thing that makes him happy. Protestant work ethic and its idea that you need to be constantly working, even in your free time, has always been a huge mystery to me, specifically why a lot of people are so stuck up with it. Talking about sex, drinking. I had a coworker who was 2 years older than me constantly call me a kid because, unlike her, I don't talk about how much I need a good fucking from my boyfriend while at work. Bish. We are at the exact same point in our lives. These 2 years of difference between you and me would have mattered if we were in high school, but we're at work and I honestly don't care to hear how unsatisfied you were with that fucking while I'm peeling freaking watermelons. I knew a girl who did this, but instead of sex and drinking it was about her age. She was 18 at the time, I was 17, and having a job. She was all like, "When you're older you'll understand. Now that I'm 18 I can't be doing that stuff." I have a real job now and it's so rough. Bitch, you just turned 18 and got a job at Burger King. You only worked once a week and had to be told a week in advance before you went. No one liked working with you, so you were rarely called in. You weren't even driving at the time and you left school early every day and had your mom take you to work. You then complained about how you were failing your classes. Your mom bought you a smart car and paid everything for you and still does. You had it easy, girl. Don't try to act like you're better than me or more mature than me just because something basic happened. I hate that chick. Having a career requiring very specialized expertise. I know doctors and lawyers who are incredibly emotionally immature. Their kids are usually good evidence of this hidden secret. You mean having a career that must be prioritized over your family can have detrimental effects? That, but it's also what often drives people to go into high-status fields, insecurity. Not true for all, but many place this insecurity onto their children. It crushes childhood creativity, as the parent expects an adult level of competence from the child. The child then usually takes one of two paths. 1. Relentlessly trying to achieve goals they don't even know if they want. 2. Giving up on themselves because it's hopeless to even try to achieve what their parents have. For most teenagers, they aren't able to envision long-term development of competence without a mentor's assistance. This is why you often see the children of doctors, lawyers and CEOs as either unable to have naturally flowing and enjoyable conversations, they're trying to control everything, in dead-end jobs, they were never inspired by their chosen field because they didn't really choose it, or addicts, as a way to cope with having no direction or comparative self-worth. As the child of a doctor, I've definitely been pretty insecure about the amount of effort that I put in compared to my parents, which pushed me to do better than them in other aspects, writing, athletics, etc. And it was definitely difficult getting over the fact that I started doing those things out of a feeling of inferiority. But because of how long I've been doing these things for and the connections I've built, it does feel like I can finally consider them passions. It is funny that both of my parents called themselves devoid of creativity, and that writing is difficult, and that's what pushed me to try my hand at it. When the eldest child is made to be a third parent and is good at it, it does not mean they're mature. They're still children forced to raise their siblings. Parentified child. It results in emotional immaturity and other psychological issues. They don't get to be kids themselves. Being stiff and mature. Basically putting yourself above others due to their position in comparison to yourself. That just shows insecurity, if anything. The ability to drink alcohol is falsely seen as a sign of maturity. Maturity is having the option to drink alcohol and choosing not to. Water is the real adult beverage. I just learned that the hard way. I am 21 and just found out I have 2 kidney stones. Putting others down. Acting like you're above it all. Not acting childish. Sounds so strange, but the most mature people usually have no problem tapping into their childish or silly sides. Immature people overdo it trying to be cool. It's about knowing when to be serious and when to be playful. It's not strange. Young people tend to go through a phase where they try desperately to distance themselves from childish things. They are so very super serious. In this phase, fun is not for adults. Meanwhile, here I am at 40 giggling at Ninja Turtles cartoons. Being an adult does mean you have to make room for serious things, and for sure, a lot of modern adults are far too invested in trite frivolities for their own good. But if you cannot turn it off now and then and laugh at Scooby-Doo, I feel bad for you. Greater than young people tend to go through a phase where they try desperately to distance themselves from childish things. That's kinda a phase that's natural, and fairly healthy, to go through as a teenager. The problem is when people stay in that headspace into adulthood. Cynicism. It's just a defeated, uninspiring way to look at the world. I get where it's coming from, but it will get you nowhere in life. A healthy amount of cynicism makes you tone down expectations. I found it useful and weirdly calming, especially in stranger does something irritating situations. That said, I try to avoid being cynical around friends at all cost. Age. There's nothing less attractive than a 40-year-old 20-year-old. Which way is that supposed to be read? Boobs. Some girls start developing early and a frightening amount of men think it's fine to hit on young women, aka girls as young as 9 years old, as soon as they show even the tiniest hint of breast development because she's grown now. No, boobs are not necessarily a sign of maturity, you are just being a creep towards minors. Same thing with menstruation, and every physical signs of puberty. This goes for all genders. This is especially true since people are getting puberty at younger ages. A beard. Mine started to be full with 14, but I was still a FKN kid though. Same for a girl with curves. They start at 11. Secondary sex characteristics in general.